Welcome back to Track Talk, and we're now up to race number 7 on the programme to preview here on the show, and it's the Kranji Stakes A, which features a very talented bunch here. This race over 1,400 metres. Limbs Lightning number 1, Danny Beasley, has drawn gate number 1, 59.5 kilos, big weight to shoulder. 2, Minister Harry Kassam rides, drawn in gate 2, right next to him there with 58. Mr. Malik is in the corresponding stall. Jimmy Wong takes the ride on board him. Sacred Croix is the man of Hakeem Cameroon. Fame Star, some of the pace in the race possibly. Jalen Siao will be on board that one, drawn 4. 6, Macam Lad, Fazli Yusuf also likes to go forward. Gold Strike, JP van der Merwe from 7 and 8. Super Dynasty, Simon Cock in gate 6. Well, a tremendous race, this one coming up, and we're going to start this preview with some track work of Sacred Croix. Vlad Jurek was on board him in his track work this week, Scott.
Yeah, not a strong piece of work, Nick, but just, you know, Vlad putting him through his paces. Obviously, he's a hard-working boy when he's at the track during the week, so he's a nice little chance in this race, isn't he? A nice 4th in the Kranji Mile, and he's got some pretty good form in group races back in his career. He
certainly has. Here's Fame Star on the outside of Charger. I like the horse on the inside to run a race, so look, Fame Star working well with him. The trip, I know he's won an E.W. Barker over 7 furlongs. That was at one point when the race was still being run, the strongest and best all-age 1,400 metre group race. He's a much better horse, though, isn't he, at 6 furlongs? There's no denying that.
He is. He's obviously going to be one of our speed runners in this race. He likes to go up and be free rolling. You know, Geraldine Siao, she ran second on him 2 starts ago, so she's got a bit of a feel for the horse. Nick, she's had a sit on him, and look, he just might sort of really relish the 4-kilogram claim if he's able to get a nice easy tempo up front, if he's not challenged too much. Yeah, he won't want any rain before Sunday, I can assure you of that. He's a much better horse on top of the ground. All 8 wins have been on good ground or quicker, which we get plenty of here at Kranji. Let's have a look at Mr. Malik now. We're going to show his Derby run, because this was, I think for many, his trainer included, disappointing. Now, the postscript out of this is that, you know, he felt the ground, and he's a horse, Scott, who's had hoof issues in the past, so he actually will appreciate any given the ground, I think. Yeah, he was very unlucky in the Derby, Nick. We spoke about it before. He was just trapped out wide through no fault of anyone's. Just the way the race panned out. They went at a pretty steady pace, and he was just caught out there. Look, he boxed on solid for 4th. It wasn't a bad run. He was probably entitled to drop out more than he did, I thought, judging by the run he had. Yeah, I agree fully. I mean, he's not beaten far. I don't think it was just the run he had that got him beaten in the Derby. I think obviously there were perhaps, you know, also other underlining issues that perhaps, you know, he was feeling, and that's what Harry said. He said, you know, he was just feeling the ground. There's your track work with Kamisa Nara. Looks to be working great, doesn't he? And Jimmy Wong's coming in for the ride. He's ridden 6 winners from 31 rides for Stephen in the last 12 months, Scott. Yeah, it's a good booking, isn't it? It's his first ride on Mr. Malik, so I'm sure he'll be one excited young man in Jimmy Wong. Here's Macam Lad when he ran 3rd in a Kranji A over 1,200 metres back on the 1st of August. And, well, Nick, if it does rain, he's one horse that does have good form on a yielding track. He does indeed. Again, though, same sort of comments with him as I think applied to Fame Star, is that they do appreciate racing more at 1,200 metres than they do this 14. I just think 2 horses on pace, if he and Fame Star take each other on up at the head of affairs, I mean, they're going to cut each other's throats here, and it's going to be a real speed battle up front, I think, for the prize. So they may just play into the hands, possibly, of 1 or 2 of the others that do stay a little bit further. Could that horse be Limbs Lightning? Let's have a look at him, shall we? This is an absolute superstar, this guy. He really is, and I mean that in the most genuine term, because ever since he's returned to Singapore, he's just looked better than ever. Yeah, Daniel Ma's done a tremendous job. He must be applauded for the way he's really turned out Limbs Lightning this year. He's just been pretty special in this comeback, hasn't he? And I think a lot of things really line up for him. He's got a great record on fresh legs. He's got barrier 1. Danny Beasley sticks with him. Like you said before, if the speed is pretty hot up in front and he's got barrier 1, he can just camp 2nd, 3rd, 4th on the rail without having to do too much work and have that strong turn of foot at the end of a race. Yeah, here's a trial. I called this trial the other week here, and I thought this was a super performance in a trial, Scott. Yeah, look, Daniel Ma's not a big tester of horses in trials. We've known that, and he likes to give them a nice, easy time. And you know, he's done that under his own steam and not pushed out at all. And you've got Minister just sort of poking up in for 3rd behind him. So it gives us a good guide coming into this weekend's race on a nice trial like that.
It certainly does. We've got a punting pointer for you as well on Limbs Lightning.
Yeah, Limbs Lightning has a 400% return on investment in 2021. So if you go back to his run back on the back in March, he's won 3 races and placed on 1 occasion. So if you're a follower of Limbs Lightning, he's paid some pretty good dividends. $48, $42 when he beat Rocket Star, and he was a short price $10 favourite when he beat Charisma, but he was the class horse in that race, wasn't he?
He was, and for that he's gone up 5 points as well. He's now rated 105, so he's clearly very well respected. What do we make of perhaps one or two of the others? We've mentioned most of the field here. It's only a small field numerically. I mean, we must give due diligence to Gold Strike and Super Dynasty, 2 very decent horses. One's been placed in the Gold Cup and one's a Group 3 winner. Yeah,
very interesting. Gold Strike, I'm probably leaning more towards him over a further trip, Nick, as we touched upon during the week, you and I. And look, Super Dynasty, there's going to be a race for him. I think you might find this a little bit sharp. He's a very well proven galloper here, but look, he's getting on a little bit now, and he's going to find his right race, but he's up against some pretty sharp gallopers who just have that fitness on their side, don't they? And well, we've got to make mention, Nick, of Minister. Look, he's on a Gold Cup path. The Raffles Cup's coming up very soon, and look for him to be hitting the line. He's had that little run last start over 1,200 metres where Fazli Yusuf rode him. And look, Harry Chasm jumps back on aboard one of his favourite horses.
He does, and interestingly enough, he's second up record, 4 wins from 5. So this is the time to catch him, and he'll be more suited and certainly more at home over this sort of distance in this race. And just to add a bit more meat to the bones of what we've got quality-wise, Limbs Lightning is now the highest rated horse in training here in Singapore at 105 rated. Grand Kunta next best at 103. Minister 103. Jupiter Gold, who's actually still registered, 101. Mr. Malik at 98, Sacred Qua at 98 as well. So we've got 4 of the highest rated horses out of the top 6 here, including the highest rated horse in Singapore going around this weekend. So it's good quality stuff.
It's a quality field. It should nearly have a Group 1 stamp next to the name of the race, shouldn't it? But look, it's a Karanji A, and some of these horses have big plans coming up in the coming months. So it's going to get us a good guide leading towards these big races.
Yeah, it's a great example perhaps to make a race like this a trophy race. Maybe that's something we could possibly work towards and look for perhaps going forward. I mean, with the quality on show, they certainly deserve their name up in lights, perhaps a little bit more elevated. Limbs Lightning on top for me, though. I think he can shoulder the weight. He's the class act of the race, and he looks hard to beat on what he's done so far this year. Mr. Malik in for second. He can improve on his Derby run. Put that behind him. He's better than that. Returning to this trip, rain will help him as well. Sacred Quan never knows how to run a bad race. 8 wins now for this fellow. Hakeem's taken a couple off. That will suit also. Minister goes in. He's building to a Raffles Cup. This is the time of his prep where he really does strike. And I certainly think he can run a good race in this. 1, 3, 4 and 2 in the Crouchy Stakes A for me.
Yeah, same numbers for me, Nick. Just in a little unsimilar order, though. I've gone Limbs Lightning on top here. He's a class galloper. He's going to get a lovely run for Beasley back on the fence. 3, Mr. Malik in for second. He'll appreciate being back into 1,400 metres. He's going to be nice and sharp over this distance. 2, Minister will be hitting the line very strongly at the end of the race, no matter where he ends up in the run. He's got bigger and better things coming in store this prep. And number 4, Sacred Qua in for 4th. He's a proven galloper. He's placed on group occasion a few times, so look for him to be in the mix. 1, 3, 2 and 4.
Yeah, it's quality little race, that one. Really looking forward to it as well, coming up at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Race 8 is a Class 5 over 1,200 metres. Big day up at the top, but runs again quickly. Huntsman in the field here. Super speed, super talent, so watch your supers in this race. Further down, New Garden High Voltage. And over the page, Wednesday, Rich Fortune, and then Intrepid, Plucky Lad, Paperback Trooper and Maximilian, all emergencies unfixed for riders at this stage. Let's start by having a look at Huntsman, who's been in good form, Scott. New Garden was behind him this day.
Yeah, he ran really well first up, running second to Uncle Lucky. And look, we know how sort of gifted Uncle Lucky is at Class 5 sprint level. He's a very honest galloper. So he was really, you can just see him in the red blinkers just starting to make his way through to run. And he was hitting the line really well on this occasion, so he's going to be fitter for that first up run, and I like the fact that Mark Lerner takes the ride again.
Yeah, it was running home well, wasn't he, Huntsman? There he is working with Country Boss. That's him on the outside, Mark Lerner on board there. So he's a horse certainly in good form with himself coming out of that Uncle Lucky race last time out. We've also got some track work of Super Talent for you, a horse who hasn't won for 225 days, but I really do think this is a chance in this race, Scott.
Yeah, this was a nice little piece of work during the week. Like, not too much testing from S. John, but it was a nice fifth behind Big Day. He was only beaten 1 1/4, and look, he was sort of interrupted at the 250 metre mark. So look for him to definitely run a pretty sneaky sort of race.
He certainly can run a sneaky race. I know the iRace magazine quite like Smoke and Mirrors again. They've tipped him a few times actually, but he is perhaps overdue a win, and he might just be the one to be with here possibly in the contest. Atlantean certainly not without some sort of chance as well. I know you quite like him here.
Yeah, I think this is his sort of distance. I tipped him last week as well, and it wasn't a bad run. He actually ran really well, Nick. He ran 5th, beaten 3 3/4, but this is a distance where he's always thrived in Singapore. So you've got to really respect him, and Oscar Chavez gets back in the saddle after winning on him 2 starts ago.
He does indeed. Oscar, who won a trial this week on Sun Ops. Make sure you get across to the website and have a look at that. It absolutely bolted him. Super Talent for me on top over Huntsman, who'll run well. Atlantean the same. And I've thrown New Garden in as well. He's obviously tied in with that Uncle Lucky form race last time out. Jimmy Wong will be on board as well. I like the booking there. I've gone 5-2-7-9 in the Class 5.
I'm with Atlantean. Look, he was a winner going back 4 starts ago when Oscar rode him. He gets back in the saddle today, and this is his distance where he really thrives. 9 New Garden in for second. Interesting runner from the Jerome Tan stable. Jimmy Wong. We've got a lovely run from Barrier 3. He's definitely one to include. Number 1, Big Day. Troy C takes a ride. This is his right sort of grade. He's only a one-time winner, but look for him to be sort of finishing off if he gets a nice run. And number 2, Huntsman, a very nice run last start when running second. He's only got to run up to that run to figure here. 7, 9, 1 and 2.
Yes, that is the 8th and 9th race. A cracking race this. A Kranji Stakes C worth 70,000 in total prize money. Arguably, you could say the quality on show, it should be worth more. Tiger Raw, Starlight, winner of the Classic. We've got the winner of the Sprint in here. We've got Prosperous Return in the field. Sun Power coming through a derby. Or could it be perhaps a lesser rated run like Wind Trail or Metal World on the ground? Keep an eye on him. Further down to Fortune Star. He's had one run here and terrific. Field of 12 here over the mile on the turf. So good race this one coming up, and we'll get straight into some track work and some good horses as well, Scott.
Yeah, nice piece of work here from Tiger Raw. He works with his stablemate Prosperous Return, so it's always nice to get a guide when 2 horses are from the same yard are competing in the same race, and they're both pretty quality individuals in their own right. They
certainly are. I'm very keen on this Tiger Raw. Have a look at him there, just quicken up in his track work. Here's Metal World.
Yeah, look, if it rains, Nick, he's going to be a big chance. He really enjoys, the sting out of the ground, and he's 2 for 2 on a wet track. So if we have any weather that we've had in the last week, he's going to really relish the conditions. He
certainly will. He was 6th in the Derby behind Hard to Think. We've got a bit more Derby form and track work to show you very shortly, but as Scott alludes to there, he's 2 from 2 on yielding ground, and he really does know how to operate when the rains come.
And it wasn't a bad run in the Derby. Look, he was probably a little bit outclassed. It wasn't a wet track, which we was hoping for, but he got the week before the Derby. But look, this is his right sort of grade. He does meet some pretty strong opposition, but he definitely loves this distance.
He does indeed. One horse who should relish the distance and further is Sun Power. He actually ran 5th in the Derby, beaten 6 3/4. Obviously, that was almost a hopeless task, really. But this is more realistic, though he bumps into some good ones.
Yeah, look, he's got good form in Australia, Nick. Power Scheme as he was raced there, and he's going to look to try and really regain that form that he had in Australia, and I think he will do it very soon.
Here is the 3-year-old Classic, now key form race here. Starlight the winner, Tiger Raw 2nd, Prosperous Return runs 4th. Something tells me this form could get turned around come Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty good race, and this was a good win on the day. He was pretty unlucky in the sprint with the blinkers on, and they kept it on for this occasion over to 1,400 metres. And look, Tiger Raw, to stablemate, was breathing down his neck, but I think it could just be a battle between the two here. What do you think?
I possibly. Now, for me, Tiger Raw, I think, can turn that form around. I mean, that's certainly what I'm thinking. Just having a look at his form. I mean, he's always, to me, been a very, very smart one. I remember calling his maiden when he won. Ryan Munger won on him, and he came from a long way back. He's beaten some good horses. I mean, he's beaten Heartening Flyer, who we know is quite handy, Gold Star, and obviously his form in the sprint and the Classic is very good. I've got reservations about Starlight staying the trip, if I'm being brutally honest. I know he won 14, but for me, he was coming to the end of it a little bit. And a 22.7 from Tiger Raw finishing off. I mean, you're going to have to be good to hold him off.
Yeah, well, Starlight's got barrier 2. He's obviously going to get a nice run for Shafrizal, who's got a nice association with this horse. Was it his first group winner in the Classic?
First feature race.
So obviously a horse that means a lot to him. And Tiger Raw, well, he's a horse on the up, isn't he? He just continues to improve, and I'm sure he's got bigger things coming towards the end of the year than a Cranji Stakes C. So he's going to want to be winning races leading up to the big races later this year. Yeah,
well, he's already a Group 3 winner. Just on Starlight, we've got a punting pointer for you on this horse, and he's got 144% return on investment there, winning twice this year. And obviously we know what great form he's in. He won back in January. He beat BU, obviously that was a good performance, and then backing it up certainly in no uncertain terms last time with the win in the 3-year-old Classic. So very good race. We mustn't though forget obviously some of the others. It's easy to get wrapped up in, I suppose, Michael Clements' horses here, but he's also got Prosperous Return, who I find interesting. Vlad hasn't ridden for a few weeks. This is his lightest weighted ride of the day, so he's obviously hoping that he can certainly do the business.
Yeah, look, he's a lovely horse, Prosperous Return. When you get a chance to see him in the flesh, he's just got a lot of presence about him. He's a lovely, big, long-framed horse, and he's got a lovely attitude too. I love it. As soon as the jockey gets on his back, he's cool, he's calm, he's relaxed, and I've got a lot of time for him. And the Tivic stable, they always manage to find a nice horse, don't they? And this bloke is definitely one of them. Yeah,
obviously a Cranji Stakes C, 44 rated to 79, and I think those up at the top, we're dealing with horses that are rated to sort of have won group races and will go on to probably win more. So just looking to the bottom end of the field, you've got Star Jack, Fortune Star, terrific. They would seemingly, especially Rambo you could include as well, would all look as if they're up against it in a big way. Yeah,
there's always a touch of support for Rambo, isn't there? In his runs gone by, he's always been pretty well backed in. So he's obviously a horse every time he runs. You've got to watch the market with him, because he's always met with favourable support.
He is indeed. He's got a bit of soft ground form in Argentina, and he's a winner twice over 1,800 metres. But a good race, this one. I think we'll be seeing some of these go into better grade and certainly continuing group races when the opportunity presents itself further down the line. It's a good race. Let's have a look at the selections for the 9th. I'm going Tiger Raw. I think he can turn the form around here. For me, he's the horse going forward. A mile plus is going to be he's optimum, and he's already proven that with a win over 1,800 metres. Prosperous Return, I think, also is probably better suited to the trip than Starlight. Take nothing away from him, though. Look, I put him for 3rd. I think he'll run well, but I feel he might be vulnerable now going up to a mile. And that's the great thing, isn't it, about racing, is that there are so many different angles you can sort of work from. And Sun Power, he's run in the Derby last time, was 5th. Handicaps actually dropped him a point on the back of that, but I think he can go okay. Track work was good. I'm gone 2, 6, 3 and 4 for me, but Tiger Raw, I've always been a fan, and I continue to be in race 9 this weekend, Scott.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. I've signed up for the fan club, and I've got him on top, Tiger Raw. He's a class individual, and he's only going to win bigger races from here on in. Starlight him for 2nd, the stablemate. A great run in the Classic. I think he'll get the mile. I think he'll get a lovely run, and that'll make up for his first time at the distance. Prosperous Returning for 3rd, Jurek on, and look, he's a class horse. He's going to get a nice run too. I think he'll get the 1,600 metres as well. And I've just chucked in 5 Federation to round out the top 4. He's got form over the mile. He ran a nice four starts ago over this distance and not beaten too far behind So High Class. So I'll put him in with a claim for 4th. 2, 3, 6 and 5.
Yes, race 9 on the programme is a really mouth-watering affair, isn't it, to look forward to. 2 more races still to preview here on Tracktalk, plus all the specials and values, and a little bit of news on a former Horse of the Year when we come back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.